Are you a non-U.S. citizen looking for more information? How to open a U.S. business bank account remotely? In today's video, I am going to be talking to you about the steps required in order to open a U.S. business bank account as a non-U.S. citizen. Hi, my name is Andrew. I'm the managing attorney at Freedom Through Business, where we help entrepreneurs just like you start your businesses without having to deal with the confusing legal paperwork. Starting a business, looking for ways to open a U.S. business bank account can be quite tedious, but do not fear, for Freedom Through Business is here. The purpose of these videos are to provide you with as much clarity and guidance in the beginning stages of starting a business or opening a U.S. business bank account. So if you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like, subscribe, as well as the bell notification so you don't miss out on any future videos. As a side note, it's very important to speak with a professional prior to doing anything. These videos are for educational purposes only, and it is always recommended that you speak with a professional. And so with that side note out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the 3 steps required in order to open a U.S. business bank account as a non-U.S. citizen. The first step a non-U.S. citizen is going to have to take prior to being able to open a U.S. business bank account is they have to form some sort of business entity. Now, the most popular business entity choice is going to be the LLC, also known as a limited liability company. There are other options such as a corporation, but as a startup, corporations are not as popular unless an individual or entrepreneur plans to have outside investors or to raise private equity in some way. Now, with an LLC in mind, a limited liability company, an entrepreneur must establish certain business details in order to first register an LLC. Some of these details are going to include 1. The business name, 2. The business address, and 3. The registered agent address. As you know, coming up with a business name is one of the fun parts of starting a business. While it can be a little bit tricky because one's business name is reflective of their brand and the product/service that they plan to provide, it's important that an individual takes the time to choose a business name that will reflect their brand, the service and or product that they will be providing. After a business name is chosen, a business address is going to be the second step. Now, a business address can be any sort of address except for PO boxes, etc. In other words, a foreign address is acceptable as a business address for an LLC. The purpose of a business address is to receive any sort of business mail, any mail from third parties, any mail from potential bank accounts or bank providers, etc. Now, when choosing a business address, it's also important to note that whatever service or whatever business you'll be engaging in, there's a huge difference between using a foreign business address and a business address that's registered in the States. And what do I mean by this? Say, for example, your business address is a business address that's overseas, not in the United States. In that case, say for example you have a website that you're to create. When it comes to websites, entrepreneurs typically post their business address on the website. And so if you have a foreign business address and you have a website in which you're going to be posting your address, any sort of clients or any sort of customers that see that an individual has a foreign business address, it may or may not bring up red flags. In order to remedy the situation, an individual or an entrepreneur can always look into creating or registering a virtual business address. And the main benefit for this is by registering a virtual business address, they're able to register a US-based business address in the state where their company is registered and formed. And so instead of putting a foreign business address on one's website, now an individual can put a US-based business address, which will build trust, authority, credibility with any potential clients or customers. The third step after choosing a business name and deciding on a business address is going to be a registered agent address. The purpose of a registered agent is to receive any sort of legal documents or any potential lawsuits on behalf of the company. It is very important to note that a registered agent, as well as a registered agent address, must be located in the state where the LLC or corporation is registered. The registered agent address cannot be overseas. And the reason for this is because, again, as I mentioned earlier, the purpose of a registered agent is to receive any sort of legal documents on behalf of the business. And so if a registered agent is overseas, it will be hard to serve that registered agent. And that's why it's required that the registered agent be in the same state where the company is registered. Once you finalize those business details, you're then going to be able to file for the LLC or corporation by reaching out to the Secretary of State in the state where you plan to register the business. As an example, Wyoming is a very favorable state for non-U.S. citizens to register their U.S.-based company. With that example in mind, an entrepreneur looking to open a U.S. business bank account will have to reach out to the Secretary of State of Wyoming. Will have to file the proper forms in order to register an LLC. Once done, the entire process is quite quick, especially since Wyoming is one of the most efficient Secretary of States out there, thus completing the process of step 1, obtaining an LLC or corporation, obtaining a company. The second step is going to be to apply for an EIN number. An EIN stands for, it's short for the words Employer Identification Number. An EIN is also known as a business tax ID number, and you can apply for an EIN number from the IRS, the Internal Revenue Services, the party that's in charge of taxes, etc. How I like to view an EIN is a social security number for a business. Now, as a non-U.S. citizen, because one does not generally have a social security number, there are going to be additional steps required. And these steps include filing Form SS4. That is an official form that a non-U.S. citizen will need to file in order to obtain an EIN number from the IRS. And keep in mind that in applying for and registering an EIN number, you are not able to do it online as a non-U.S. citizen that does not have a social security number. The Form SS4 must actually be mailed to the proper IRS mailing address. And keep in mind that there are numerous IRS mailing addresses, so if you do get to this step, make sure you're mailing it to the correct IRS agency, branch. Now that an individual has their US company and their EIN number, they're then going to go to the final step, which is going to be opening a business bank account. Now, when it comes to opening a US business bank account, it's likely that an individual is going to need what's called a banking resolution document. This is a document that a bank branch may or may not request, but in choosing the correct US business bank account branch to open your bank account, the first option is you can always open a physical US business bank account with a physical bank branch, such as Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, etc. But do keep in mind that opening a business bank account with one of these physical bank branches will require an individual to be present in the States in order to open the business bank account. The remedy for this is option 2, which is going to be opening a US business bank account remotely, and that US business bank account being online. Now, there are a variety of online business bank accounts that provide stability, that are trusted, etc. One major online bank account is going to be the online bank account Mercury. When it comes to Mercury, you do not need to show up in person. You can take care of everything online as long as you have all the proper documents to show proof that you are owner of the U.S. company. Some of these documents will include the LLC documents, such as the articles of organization. You're going to need the EIN number. Again, sometimes the bank will request banking resolution documents, etc. But as long as you have all the necessary banking documents in order to open a U.S. business bank account, you will be able to open an online business bank account remotely without having to come to the U.S. If you happen to enjoy this video, please make sure you hit the like, subscribe, as well as the bell notification so you don't miss out on any future videos. It's time to invest in yourself. It's time to rise.